So here's the pattern. African poverty is not random, and it's not solely self-inflicted. It's the product of a system, a series of mechanisms operating over more than a century. First, colonial extraction designed economies to export wealth rather than develop it. Second, Cold War interference prevented leaders who wanted independent development from surviving. Third, structural adjustment programs opened economies to foreign competition before they were ready and extracted debt payments that exceeded development aid. Fourth, the resource curse, where valuable resources attract predatory interests, both domestic and foreign, that have more to gain from instability than from stable development. But here's the uncomfortable question the historical pattern raises. Right now, a new scramble is underway. China is building infrastructure across Africa, railways, ports, power plants. The rhetoric is different. China calls it win-win cooperation. Western critics call it debt trap diplomacy. African leaders see it as a chance to play competing powers against each other for better terms. But look at the infrastructure China is building. The railways run from mines to ports. The ports are designed for exports. The loans come with conditions, often opaque, that give Chinese companies control over strategic assets if payments are missed. Zambia has faced concerns about potentially ceding control of a power utility. There are questions about ports in Kenya, railways in Ethiopia. The architecture looks familiar. The question is whether the outcome will be different. African economists argue it can be. This time, they say, African nations have leverage. The world needs African cobalt for electric vehicles, African rare earths for wind turbines, African lithium for batteries. The green energy transition cannot happen without Africa. And African leaders, for the first time, can negotiate from a position of strategic importance rather than desperation. Maybe. The African Continental Free Trade Area, launched in 2021, is an attempt to build the infrastructure that colonialism didn't, trade routes that connect African nations to each other, not just to external markets. If it works, it could finally create the internal markets that drive sustained development. But the historical pattern suggests caution. Every previous moment of African leverage, independence, oil price spikes, strategic importance during the Cold War was captured by the same extractive dynamics. The wealth flowed out, the poverty stayed. And the mechanisms that produce that outcome, fragile institutions, external interference, debt structures that favor creditors, haven't disappeared. Subscribe for more. Also, our full video on this is now live, link in the description below.